So following on from the previous video, we were trying to keep track of this particular point. So we've got our equation of our straight line given by this, and the circle is given by this. So if you want to keep track of this point, then you would put this into the y, square it. That will then give us this thing here. So now square this. So looking at this block here, if you square it, it will then give you this thing here. So now multiply this. This times this will then give you this. This times this will then give you this. This times this will then give you this. And then take away 1. So that will then give us this. And then now x squared, you can merge them together. That will be t squared plus 1. And then this stays the same. This stays the same, and then this is your, in a way, your constant. So this is like your quadratic formula: x squared, x, and your constant. So using the quadratic formula, using the quadratic formula, this is your a here. This is your a here. This is your b here. This is your b here, and then this is your constant c. Your constant c. So using the quadratic formula, that will then take you to here. So now let me think. Now multiply this out. That will then give you this thing here, and then it's blah blah blah. That will then take us to here. That will then take us to here. So x equals this. So there are two solutions. One, the positive version and the negative version. Now, so here, from here, you've got two choices. The negative version would take you down to here. The positive version would take you in this direction. So looking at the negative version, hang on. So we are currently here. X equals this. Looking at the negative version would take us to here. So when you look at the negative version, it would be -1, as opposed to positive. Positive will give you this. So looking at the negative version, that will then take us to here. And then now switch these two around. That will then give you this. Factor out the -1. That will then give us this thing here. So now these two are exactly the same. They will cancel each other out, giving you -1. So the line will always cross at -1. If you look at the negative strand, here you've got a positive strand and a negative strand. If you look at the negative strand, the line and the circle will always intersect at -1. Looking at the positive strand, that will then take you to here. So looking at the positive strand, where the line and the circle intersect, the x value would be given by this. So what that means is the x coordinate at this point here, the x coordinate, which is from here to here, will be given by this. So now if you want to know the y coordinate, well, once you've got your x, if you put it back into, well, right from the start we have this thing here. The equation of our straight line was this thing here. Well, once you've got your x, you can put it into here. And then that will then give you the y location. So put this into here. That will then take us to here. So now merge these two together. That will then give you this thing here. And then if you tidy up this whole thing, it will then give you this thing here. So now you're, well, going back to here, going back to here, you've got two strands. The negative strand would mean that the line and the circle will always intersect at -1. Looking at the positive strand, it will lead you to x equals this and y equals this. So you going down the positive strand would lead you to this and to this. So these are your parametric equations to describe everything except from the -1, because the -1 is you going down the negative strand. If you go down the positive strand, it will describe everything except from this this particular point. So if you look at when t is a really high gradient, let's say 99999, a really steep gradient, it will intersect somewhere around. Well, will intersect somewhere. A really steep gradient will intersect somewhere around here. It will never be a -1. So even if t is really high, it will never intersect at -1. So back earlier, we had a choice of going down the negative strand, or the positive strand. Going down the negative strand will always lead you to -1. But if you go down the positive strand, it will lead you to this and this. But it doesn't include the point -1, 0. If you go down the positive strand, it will exclude this particular point. Okay, so it will describe everywhere else apart from this one particular point. Okay, so these are your parametric equations for this circle. But this is a weird circle because this circle doesn't include this particular point. And the reason why we're interested in this technique is we can use the same technique to come up with a parametric equation for this weird line here. Because if you start out with y equals tx, where t represents a gradient, the steepness of the line. Let's say it's really steep here. So if you can find a way of tracking this particular point, any straight line, if you can find a way of keeping track of this particular point, then it will lead you to your parametric equations for this line. Because even if you have a line like this, if you can keep track of this point, or this point here, or this point here, or this point here, by looking at this line tx, you can develop a way of coming up with the parametric equations to keep track of this, well, to follow this path. Okay.